Sometimes people aren't made to think that deeply. Sometimes people aren't made to comprehend such complex moving parts that is present within your life. And that is completely okay, but it's knowing that it only hurts you to expect.
I think that's the real deal. Love you.
What's happening? It's Jasiah, and today I want to remind you that it is perfectly okay to be misunderstood. And I want to emphasize that it is especially okay to be misunderstood when you are in environments that you have outgrown, that you are not aligned with, and that just do not serve the version of you that you are actively becoming. So, in my reality, I'm facing this resistance when it comes to advocating for myself, advocating. Let's take a breath. Let's take one nice little deep breath and just remember that it is so okay to be misunderstood, especially when the environment that you are trying to have understand you is an environment that no longer serves you in any way, shape, or form. Especially when you're at a place in your life, like me, where you have done the hard work of healing. You have done the work that everyone around you tends to shy away from, tends to act as if it's not there. So if those same people that you're trying to find comfort in are the same people that are the sole reason as to why you have to do the healing, you just cannot expect to get comfort in that environment. So if I have my scars when it comes to being not emotionally provided for from my family, right? And then later on in my life, when I do the healing, I grow up, I get a better understanding of my emotional regulation, and I then look to the same family who gave me those scars of being emotionally neglected. I can't expect them to suddenly heal, suddenly be able to provide that emotional regulation or just that emotional comfort from them if they never did the work. And it's not like that's where I'm at. So I've come to a point in my life where, oh, the wind is winding and it is being confirmation right now. I've come to a point in my life where I have sat with everything that is not what I want it to be, everything that is working against me rather than helping me in this beautiful game of life. And I've asked myself, excuse me, how do I turn uh, this problem into a solution? Not saying that I have problems, but to the version of myself that I'm trying to become, if it's not serving that version of myself that I'm trying to become, it is essentially an obstacle. It's a problem. But that doesn't mean that I can't make that problem work for me. That doesn't mean that I can't make something that isn't working work for the better of me. Like an example would simply just be that, like, we are social creatures, right? We are humans. We want to confide in each other. We want comfort. We want that social interaction. But there are seasons in my life specifically that have called me to draw back and that have called me to be in my own bubble and to be alone. And within me being called to be alone, within me being called to stay to myself and to sit by myself and to ask myself, not out of not out of wanting to. It's not that I want to ask myself, okay, like what's going on, how do I feel, or anything like that, but it's like I'm forced to sit with myself. I'm forced to ask myself the hard question. I'm forced to be comforting to myself, and in that pressure of having to show up and nurture myself, I have been able to build a relationship with myself that is unshakable, and that I don't have to rely on anybody else outside of me to confirm that it's okay to feel certain ways. It's okay to have a certain perspective, especially when no one around me has the same perspective or feels the same way, because it's okay to be misunderstood. So, as social humans, as social creatures, we want that comfort. We want to be having that social interaction, and that's completely normal. But there are going to be seasons in your life where you are called to be alone, where you are called to do the self reflection by yourself. And that will serve a beautiful purpose if you allow it to, and you don't resist the alone time, and you allow it to play its part in the chapter that it's trying to play its part in. So for me, I've been forced to confide in myself, to comfort myself, to talk myself through my emotions, to essentially find an outlet that is healthy to regulate these emotions, and not have to rely on anybody else. Of course, support is beautiful and it's something everybody does deserve, but a lot of the times when you're forced to be alone and to be misunderstood by everything that surrounds you, it's an opportunity for you to sit with yourself and to look at yourself and to comfort yourself and to be there for yourself in ways that no one can understand, in ways that no one would be able to even comprehend. Because a lot of the times when you're in environments that misunderstand you, it's really just the expectation of wanting somebody to understand you that continues to create this resentment within that connection of who you are wishing to understand you. Some people just won't understand you because they can't comprehend the magnitude of the emotions that you deal with, or the just the life that you live. Sometimes people aren't made to think that deeply. Sometimes people aren't made to comprehend such complex moving parts that is present within your life, and that is completely okay. But it's knowing that it only hurts you to expect somebody to understand something that they were never made to understand, because they can't understand to that depth. They can't even imagine that depth, and that's okay. And that's no resentment to them. That's not you're better than them, but it's simply just that relationship, that connection is not in alignment with who you are, where you're going, what you're actively becoming. And that right there has been the biggest lesson, is for me lately, is wanting to be not wanting to be understood. I have been doing consistent reps within my life, within the relationships that I hold in my life, within the experiences that I'm going through currently, where I'm learning that it's okay to be misunderstood, and I don't crave that feeling of being understood. I don't crave that itch anymore where it's somebody outside of me telling me, I completely see where you're coming from. I understand. I empathize. I don't need the empathy. I don't need to be understood right now in this season, because within this season, I'm being forced to understand myself. I'm being forced to empathize with myself. I'm being forced to comfort myself. And within me being able to do that, it has quite literally opened the door of just building this relationship with myself that is so beautiful, to where I don't find the need to feel like an explanation is needed for others. I don't need to explain why I feel the ways that I feel. I don't need to explain my side of the story because I know that who I am, I know that what I'm working towards, I know that everything that I embody is intentional. And it's intentional in a way that is respectful to everybody, regardless of whether or not they see it that way. I know that that's my intention, so that's okay. Now, I'm not saying to go do the most fucked up shit and then go be like, well, I did it out of respect. But genuinely sit with yourself and have genuine interactions and genuine reflections about the decisions that you make. And know that when you make a decision, it is of the most benefit. The decision that you're making is the most beneficial decision that you can make to serve you. Because at the end of the day, at the end of life in itself, and I'm dealing with end of life care for somebody I love. It's like I'm pre-grieving my own grandma, and I I've never really dealt with grief, but it has been eye-opening for me to see end of life kind of right in front of my face and to care for those last days of somebody's life. And it's really brought me to the understanding that at the end of life, at the end of the day, even every decision that you make should be of service to you and to the life that you want to lead and you want to live. Because coming to the end of your life and not having been able to do everything that your heart desires and to be selfish about your life in ways that aren't intentionally harmful to others is exactly what I think I need a reminder of every day. I need to be a little bit more selfish when it comes to building my life, when it comes to being strict on who has access. This needs to be a strict program, because if it's not a strict program, then it's simply just allowing everybody, anything into my life, into what I'm building. And that in itself is a detriment and a disrespect to who I see myself becoming, because who I see myself becoming doesn't just allow anything and everything within my life. Who I see myself becoming has these standards, has these expectations, and they're not set in a place of ego, or they're not set in a place of feeling like I'm better than anybody, but it's set in a place of knowing that there's a destination that I see myself arriving at, and in order for me to arrive there, I can't hold baggage that other people carry, because I love you. I love myself enough to know, and I've loved myself enough to know that I just gotta say it again. I love myself enough to know that there is baggages that come with certain people and with certain relationships, and I will respect my time, respect who I am, and respect who I'm becoming more than I will want that relationship. Because if that relationship is really aligned and really serving the version of myself that I am choosing to become actively every day, then it will not naturally fall off. It will adjust to meet me where I'm at and where I'm going. If it naturally falls off, if that relationship does not serve me, I allow it to be exactly what it's meant to be, a part of the shedding process. 1333. Thank you. And so life life has been really just wow. No words. But I'm still grateful to simply just be here, to be alive, to be underneath the sun, to be given yet another day to pursue my dreams, to actively make decisions in my life that get me closer to where I want to be. And exercising patience once again. The universe knows I'm so tired of building that muscle of patience, but will I ever give up on everything that is calling my name? Absolutely not. So, I guess patience, resilience is just gonna have to be worked out time and time and time and time and time again. And I believe that it is one of those lifelong skills, lifelong muscles that we as humans will always have to build until eventually our reps get so high that we are being resilient, we are being patient in situations we never thought we would be in, but we still obviously have the capabilities, because never will you be put in a situation where you will not be equipped with everything that you need to get through it, to see the other side. And I truly believe that, because I have this gut wrenching feeling that the universe just always wants what I want for me, and even some more. The universe doesn't just want what I want, the universe wants what I want and some more for me. So, you know, but on that note, it's okay to be misunderstood and be comfortable with being misunderstood, actually, because where you're going in life, what you're doing, is not a path that has been paved before. So you cannot expect others to understand something that is being brought to the front. You can't expect anybody to understand the path that you're paving when the path you're paving has never been paved before. That's like asking someone to understand an invention that has never been invented before. This has never existed before you brought it to its existence. So you can't expect others to understand its purpose, to understand its existence. Get comfortable in that and know that that is so unique and that is so special. So let it be what it is. Shit gonna be what it is. And just and flow with it. You feel me? Oh, okay. Yeah. Later loves. Later. And one more thing. We'll life update later. We'll life update later. We'll life update very soon, actually. Okay. Yeah. Later loves.